Have you ever played the game Whack-A-Mole? You know, the one that they have at a carnival or a fair, and the little mole pops up, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, and you have to hit them as hard as you can. I'm in the middle of playing a game of Whack-A-Mole, but the difference between where I'm at in my life playing Whack-A-Mole in real life than playing Whack-A-Mole at a carnival or a fair is at a carnival or a fair, it's for fun and you choose to play it. And when the game is done, you can stop. And it's funny, and you laugh with your friends or your kids because, maybe you got a lot of moles and then you want a stuffed animal and you get a stuffed animal. Ah, yay. I have not signed up for the whack-a-mole game that I'm playing right now. And I am coming on here because I need help and support from my community. And, I talk about being vulnerable and how vulnerability is a strength, yet it's a really, really challenging thing for me to be vulnerable like this and reach out to all of you for your help and your support. Partly because I have been told, oh, don't make life about you. Um, and that has stopped me from making my life about me. And you know what I'm realizing, and I talked about this in my 3-day Manifest Your Most Abundant Life to all the people that were in the workshop, and they loved it. I said, if you don't make your life about you, nobody else is going to, because everybody else is busy making their life about them. And I just turned 51. And, we live in this interesting world of duality, right? We live in this world where amazing things happen. And so I had an amazing thing happen for my birthday when I turned 51, right? I got put on a cover of a magazine. Wow, that was amazing. That was so cool. I always wanted to be on the cover of a magazine. I was about 30 years ago. This is my second time. And so I had that celebration. And as many of you know, my Wounds to Wisdom Oracle arrived, and it's beautiful and it's amazing and I love it. And my Awaken the Oracle Within, and it's beautiful and I love it. And I had my Oracle card party and Manifest Your Most Abundant Life Masterclass, and it was amazing. And we had such a great time. And I'm feeling so grateful. And life is incredible. And I am so grateful, so, so grateful. The 3-day workshop was magic. We were on a magic carpet, and it was so supportive, and it was so lovely, and it was so beautiful. And, but at the same time, this world of duality gives us sometimes not so great things. And I found out that my life's work, my Wounds to Wisdom Oracle deck, has, well, there's mole. And that's why I've been playing whack-a-mole, is because it has been appropriated. And it has now, there is a counterfeit version out there with my exact title, Wounds to Wisdom Oracle, with my exact words, transform wounds to wisdom, wisdom to superpowers, and with Awaken the Oracle Within. The other Oracle deck has also been put into this counterfeit deck. And I can't even tell you in words how much this has triggered all kinds of my wounds. And as I always talk about how the treasures are found in our triggers, it, it has been an interesting journey that I have found myself going through all sorts of emotions, all sorts of wounds. Betrayal wound is a big one, feeling betrayed. And I've had intense anger. I've had intense tantrums. This is not fair. I have had intense grief and loss, crying and crying and crying, devastated that this has happened. I have had the feelings of how in the world can people do this to other people? I have had so many different emotions, and I'm honoring all of them, and I'm embracing all of them. And I am sharing my story so that you can all help me, and not just me. Like, this is not just about me. This represents so many people on this planet that this has happened to. You know, the Native Americans being, because I am part Native American. And when I went to New Mexico last year, or it was the year before last, to go to my birthplace. And I hadn't been back, I hadn't been to New Mexico at all, but I had been to Arizona 30 something years ago, and it has changed so much. I'm driving in my vehicle and I see a big sign that says, Native American gifts. And I was like, oh, I want a Native American gift. So I pull over and I go in, and the whole warehouse is full of so many what I thought were Native American treasures. And I start looking and I'm like, I don't know. My intuition is telling me not good vibes right now. Not good feelings about this. So I start looking at the tags, okay? Made in China, made in China, made in Taiwan, made in, Malaysia, and I'm like, oh, this is not made by the Native Americans. So I start trying to find something, just something that's made by a Native American local, so I can support the local culture, because that's important to me. And I couldn't find anything. So I went and I asked the guy, and he was quite rude actually and said, no, nothing here is. And it was a very big warehouse full of a lot of stuff. And I was like, huh. I said, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to find something. And he said, good luck. So it was hard to find something made by the Native Americans. I went to warehouse, to shop, to warehouse, to shop, finally found something. And the Native American women working there, I went to them and I said, is anything here made by the Native Americans? And they said yes. And it was a small area. And the prices were at least, twice, if not three times the amount. But I did buy something. I got this ring, and it's beautiful. And, turquoise and silver. And I was happy to pay more because, and I asked, does the money go to the Native American artisan that made this? Yes. Great. Okay. And I made a vow to myself that I will no longer support cultural appropriation, and I will support local artists and artisans, the original authors, the original creators. In that moment, I made that decision in a really big way, to the point that when we went to Oregon next, I went to Oregon to visit my sister, and we went into this shopping plaza, and there was this store, and it had this really cool looking sweater for sale that I just knew my husband would love. And I was like, oh yeah, no, it was a poncho. That's right, it was a poncho. And I was like, oh gosh, I gotta get that for him. He will love that. And then I looked at the price and I was like, ooh, that's expensive. Maybe I'll just put that right back. And then I looked at it and I was like, I wonder if it's made by Native Americans. And I started to get, inquisitive about it, And I asked the lady, is this a Native American design? Oh, yes, it is. It's I can't remember if it was Navajo or one of the tribes. And I said, oh, wow. And I said, so is it made by the Native Americans? Oh, no, it's a designer. I said, okay, but it's a Navajo design. But it's made by, is the designer Native American? No. I said, does the money go to the Native Americans? She's, let me check. She came back. No, it doesn't. And I said, okay, so then it's a culturally appropriated design that your store sells and makes money from, but the Native Americans don't get any of that profit. Is that what you're telling me? And she looked a little like, yep. And I said, oh, well, I won't be buying anything from your store today because I don't believe in cultural appropriation and stealing people's work. It's just really unethical and not okay. So I'm not going to buy anything from your store at all, ever. And then I left and she was like, okay. Man, I guess that was a bit intense, but I am feeling so riled up about this topic right now because it has happened to so many people and it's really not okay. And, I am just a bit beside myself at the moment of how I'm feeling. But, as I have turned 51 years old, I feel like it is time to be an activist and to talk about this stuff and really make some boundaries and some lines in the sand and speak up for what's right, for what's fair. As creatives, I think it's really important to stay in our own lane and to honor and respect where things come from. And I'm getting my degree in psychology at Victoria University. And the first thing they do is they educate us and train us um, quite diligently in plagiarism. And it's a big deal. Like if you plagiarize, you get kicked out of school and your work gets failed. And they take it very, very seriously. And to the point that when you write an academic paper, anything that you contribute to someone else, a theory or a method, or even a tagline or something someone has said, a tagline, then you have to credit them. And if you don't, it's considered plagiarism. So a lot of people are not educated about this, and I understand that. And I wasn't until I started this arduous training. But what it's done for me is it has really helped me understand why I get so riled up, because it's a matter of respect. And so now, like anytime I say something, like if I got something from Tony Robbins or from Anadea Judith or from any of my teachers, Vishen from Mind Valley, then I'm going to credit them on where that came from. And if I don't know where it came from, I usually say, well, not sure where this came from, and be honest about it. But it's so important to honor people and their work. Like it's really, really important. And I am feeling so riled up about this topic right now. Now, how have I turned my wounds, my betrayal wound, into my superpower? I am in the process. And one thing that I did that I'm patting myself on the back for right now, due to listening to my own intuition, my internal navigation system, and also listening to the people that love me and care about me, I did invest money in the proper trademark and copyright and a lawyer and all the things before I sent my work to have it created, printed in China. And I'm so glad I did that because I do have legal protection and I do have ground to stand on. And I'm standing strongly on that ground. And with that copyright and trademark, I have been able to take the counterfeit deck down. Well, I contacted Temu and AliExpress and I plugged in all my numbers and all my certificates and all my things and the pictures and everything. It was, a bit of work to do for sure, but I did it. I did it straight away. And Temu took it down right away. Thank you, Timu. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And AliExpress, a lot of work to fill out, but AliExpress took it down. Thank you, AliExpress. You have integrity. You have honor. You have dignity and respect. Amazon is a company I am still submitting and, and they are investigating, but, I'm just having to play whack-a-mole at the moment. And I have sent a cease and desist letter. So I am standing on solid ground. I am standing in my power. I am saying that this is my work and I am worthy of making sure that it is not culturally appropriated. And I'm not sure if using cultural appropriation is the right word from this, but, the appropriation of someone else's work is just, it's out of alignment. It's out of integrity. And the thing about being a pioneer and about being a leader is that I know that I have my own ideas. I know that I am a creative person. And, when someone takes someone else's work, they're doing a disservice to that person, but they're also doing a disservice to themselves. If we all can stay in our own lane and create our own work, I think this world would be such a nicer place to be. And so the way that I am channeling all my angst and my energy is by standing my ground and saying, enough is enough is enough already. I am not willing to have my sole purpose work stolen. I am not willing to allow it to be appropriated. I am not willing for someone else to do a word salad on my sacred work. I created this work to be a transformational intelligence guidebook for emotional intelligence, for personal sovereignty and strength, for the transformational journey. It came from my heart. It came from my soul. It came from my creativity. It came from my authenticity. It came from solid ground, from an open heart that really wants to help this world become a better place. And I intend on protecting my sacred work. I will keep protecting it because it is sacred and it is true and it is what I created. It is my legacy. And you know what? That feels really good. So I am reaching out to my community, my friends, my family, and all of you in this beautiful community. And I'm asking you to please make sure not to buy the counterfeit deck. It looks like that. And buy my work if you're going to invest in it. This is it here. Okay. And it's sold only through me right now. And I have an Etsy shop. And that's Awaken the Oracle Within. Okay. So, but this is not just for me. Okay. This is for all artists, all pioneers, all authors, all people that make something that's from their heart, from their soul, and is authentically their creation. Please support the individuals that are putting their life and heart and soul, blood, sweat, tears, everything, their energy into creation. Please support the original artists that have created their own work. And you can do that with the Native Americans as well, the Aboriginal artwork. beautiful Aboriginal artwork, and different works in this world. And yeah, and you know, I have found that, me personally, when I see a counterfeit deck or a counterfeit piece of jewelry or a counterfeit anything, it just doesn't have the same vibe. It doesn't have the same energy. It's not as beautiful. It's cheaper. Like, it's definitely cheaper. But you get what you pay for. And yeah, so this is my message. This is my message about staying in your own lane and honoring and crediting other people and their work, and I see this a lot. Another passionate part of this, message is it happens so much in the spiritual community, like happens so much. It's like happened me so many times, to the point that my 14-year-old son was like, Mom, have you noticed that this happens to you over and over? Like, it's a pattern. And I said, yes, son, I have noticed that. Thank you. He says, you know why? It's because you don't do anything about it. You just let them. You just let them, and not in like the positive way of Mel Robbins' book either. Like, that's a different thing. Like, sometimes you got to let them, you got to surrender, you got to let go. But sometimes, no, you don't. You actually don't. Some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth going, no, that's actually mine. And no, you cannot just word salad it, reproduce it, and make money off of my work. No, you're not doing that. And that's what I'm doing. I am standing strong in my power, like my 14-year-old son says, Mom, quit being a people pleaser. Stand up for what you believe in. Say no. You need to learn how to fight for what you believe in. And you need to have, he didn't say boundaries, but what I knew from what a 14-year-old is saying is like some strong boundaries around your work, which is the trademark, which is the copyright, which is me making this video and saying, buy from the real, authentic creators. Please support the artists, the authors, the creators of their own original intellectual property. And let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, I wanted to say this, that please don't misunderstand. I love people from all over the world, and I am a child of the universe. This is my book, Own Baby Child of the Universe, and I love it so much because you got all these people from all over the world. And you see, there's the little girl here from China, and the ladies that I'm working with, that are printing my decks, are so lovely. It's a female team, and they're so wonderful, and it's a really good energy. And I really don't think it is my printer that I'm doing whack-a-mole with. Like, they are standing by my side and they've got my back. I don't think it has anything to do with them, but I don't really know yet. It's being investigated who this is. But what I do know is that I don't have anything against another country. I don't have anything against China. That my printer is in China. Like, there's so many beautiful, good people all over this world, whether they're from China or they're from America or they're from New Zealand or Australia or Afghanistan or Malaysia. There's good people everywhere. I love multicultural people from all over the planet. I just don't like the cultural appropriation, the dishonesty, I don't like deceitfulness. I don't like it when people don't honor one another. And this has been a big pet peeve of mine in the spiritual community. I've actually had people say to me, oh, well, Schamet, and the way they say it too is like Schamet, like they're speaking down to me. like I'm not as spiritual as they are. Schamet. This is, everything belongs to everyone. Do you think the trees own the soil or the soil owns this? Nobody owns anything. Well, I wonder how people would feel if people just decided that you didn't own your house or your food, and they just came right in and they jumped into your bed and started eating your food in your bed and walking around your living room and just making themselves at home because, everything belongs to everyone. And there's just no boundaries on that because we all own everything and it's all part of the cosmic consciousness. Oh, yeah, that's where it all kind of comes apart at the seams. The thing is that we are spiritual beings having a physical human experience. And in this, and by the way, we are not trees. I mean, we can be like trees. And I always say, be a tree. And, that's all well and fine up to the point you say, well, but we're not actually really a tree. We can be like a lion and roar, but we're really not lions. We're people, we're humans, and we don't live in the jungle. And we live in homes and we have jobs and we have creative energy and we have so much creative energy. And then that creative energy goes into something like a book, or it goes into a job or a career or an invention or something that we as a human create and then put into the world that has our stamp, our IP, our creativity into it. And then, yes, that is belonging to that person that put that into the world. And so, rules like, owning a home or owning land or owning IP, or, plagiarism and these like sacred containers and sacred rules exist and order so that people can, make money from their art, make money from their contribution to society, so that then they get that energy, which, comes in the form of food and housing and shelter and all the things, right? That needs to be honored. And, we do live in this matrix, and there are some just common sense respect and decency that I feel needs to be honored in the spiritual community. And I can't tell you how many times I have been spiritually bypassed by spiritual people that go, oh, Shamet, that's such a low frequency vibration for you to be upset about. And it's like, well, hang on. Um, that's like, that is bypassing. And that's gaslighting, actually. Technically, it is gaslighting the feelings that I have. And, I have had so many things happen in my life. And, one particular story was when I did some training overseas. I spent a lot of money to go over there and train. I trained with Anna Dea Judith. This is many, many moons ago. And I had just come back, and everybody knew in my community that I had gone over there and I had trained with Anna Dea Judith. I came back with all the knowledge and the wisdom and the information that I had learned. I then developed my own workshop, and I put it all together myself, and I created it myself with my own ideas, not, taken from Anna Dea, but my own IP around what I had learned, and then creating my own thing, my own version, inspired, of course, by the chakra work that I was doing. And I was so excited. And I thought, well, before I shop it around to all the yoga studios, I'll teach it at my own home yoga studio and just kind of have a test run and see how it goes. So I invited some people to attend, and I had the workshop, and it went really, really well. But my intuition told me that one of the people in the workshop was going to take my work. And it was a very strong psychic premonition, really, more than just intuition. And then she did weird things like she didn't want to be seen in the photos and she hid, and there was a lot of telltale signs as well. So my intuition said, make sure you approach this yoga studio as soon as possible before she does. So I did, but I was too late and she was already doing it. And the lady said, "Oh, we already have pretty much an identical workshop." And I said, "Well, that's interesting because I created this." So I don't see how there could be an identical workshop when I created it. Like it didn't exist before. I said, "But I did just teach it at my yoga studio." And but she just was adamant that that was happening and this other person was teaching it. So I went. Yes, I attended and I went and I sat in that circle, and she had not only taken the whole workshop, everything, but even my jokes, even my sense of humor. And she not once looked at me and she not once acknowledged me. And it was so painful. And I went. I mean, one of my friends says, "Why did you go?" I went because I couldn't believe it. And I wanted to know if it was really happening. It's like I wanted proof that my intuition and my psychic abilities were really telling me what they were telling me, because I couldn't imagine doing this to someone. And I wanted to see if I was right. And I was. I also think I was kind of holding hope that maybe she would say, "Oh, and I was inspired by Schamet Horsefield," or, "Oh, thank you so much, Schamet, for putting me on my path. I found my alignment." There was no acknowledgement. There was no credit. And you know what? I think that hurt more than anything else. Even my own work being stolen, my sense of humor being stolen. Like in some way, I thought, well, wow, I must have really good ideas. Like I must be really funny. Like that but that there was no credit there, no acknowledgement, nothing. Didn't even look at me, which obviously that's guilt. Now, I had to leave. I couldn't take any more. So I left. Well, everything happens for a reason and it all comes full circle. And I know this too will. And I know that, well, I hope with all of me, I hope that the karma and the retribution will take place and they will be taken down and they will stop. And, um, and I hope that me speaking out like this, you know, educates more people to make informed decisions. Well, as I was leaving, another girl was leaving too, and she says, "Hey, could I have a ride from you downtown?" And I said, "Sure." She got in my truck, and I was all like trying to hold it all together, be strong, not cry, even though that's what I was going to do as soon as I got home, is have a really big cry. And she says, "I know what just happened to you." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm good friends with that girl, da 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 da. And I know she took your work. And I just want you to know that it's not okay. And I just don't understand why you didn't say anything and why you're not doing anything about it." And then I started crying and I said, "Because I don't want to make waves. I don't want to upset the apple cart." She says, "It's stealing and it's wrong, Shamet, and you need to say something. It's not okay. I was her friend, but I'm not anymore after what just happened. That just made me sick inside." And then I said, "Yeah, actually, my stomach is like so sick right now, and I'm just so sad and I'm beside myself and I just can't believe it happened." And she says, "It's wrong. It's horrible. You cannot allow this. You have to tell the yoga studio and you have to put a stop to it and da 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 da." And I did end up telling the yoga studio but full circle, like it was the last workshop that girl did. It went my workshop anyways. I don't know what came of her. I have never seen her again, but from what I hear is she she did get her karma and things did come back around full circle. And it always does. Like, you cannot go around doing that to people without it coming back. And I really believe that. I really do. And I am spiritual. But I also, have my son saying, Mom, you think that somehow that, like, a law of attraction, like, you have some sort of, he said this, he says, you have some sort of belief that maybe it's your fault, or you've manifested this because you have a fear of it. He goes, but what if it's just, people doing things that are not good and you just are allowing them? Like, maybe the reason why it happens to you again and again and again is because you're not doing anything about it. And that really landed for me. And so that is why I'm making this video. It's part of me being an activist. It's part of me speaking up and speaking out and saying, let's all do our part to make sure we do not support this. Kind of in the way where we learned that we had all this crappy, like, weird stuff in our food, right? And we all started to learn by storytelling and telling one another that, hey, this and this and this preservative is in this food and it can make you sick. So maybe you should start reading the back of the ingredients in all these things so that you're not poisoning yourself. And, the food marketing company, right? They put all kinds of stuff in our food to make us addicted to it, to make us consume more, and to make us sick. And so when we can tell people that and share that wisdom and that information, then more and more people are aware, and then they read the back of the label, and then they don't buy that thing because it makes them sick. It's like that. If you know that there are counterfeit books, oracle decks, jewelry, all kinds of things out there, and you're educated about it, then we can start making change. And so I'm making this video not just for me, and it is for me. I mean, Mother Teresa, she said the reason why she helps other people is because it made her feel good. So it is about me, and it's also about we, and it's about you, and it's about all of us. Because when I make it about me, I am making it about you, and I'm making it about we, because we are all connected. And I am a mirror of each and every one of you. And hopefully, this will make an impact and a difference in someone's world today. And it's been a long time since I came on here and told a wounds to wisdom to superpowers story. And this is a good one. The wound is having a betrayal, having someone's life work copied, stolen, and taken. The fear and the loss and the grief is very, very real for me right now. And I'm sitting in all of it, not to marinate in it. I don't want to marinate in it, but to acknowledge it, that I am sitting in the energy of grief and loss and betrayal and fear. And just to acknowledge that I am transforming it into my wisdom. And the wisdom is being, smart, getting the trademark, getting the copyright, getting all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, and making sure that I put one foot in front of the other so that I can then transform all of that into my superpowers. Now, the superpowers is, in my opinion, having a story to share. What I'm doing right now, sharing this story with each and every one of you, because you might not have known how important it is to have copyright and trademark. I'm really getting it right now. Like, it's been huge for me as I'm filling out all this paperwork to prove that my life's work is really actually mine, to prove that my brand really is my brand, to prove that my creative ideas and work are mine. I'm having to prove that right now. And it would be much, much more difficult. I'm not saying it would be impossible, but it would be much more difficult if I did not have the copyright and the trademark. So, if you are, creating something that is important to you, make sure you get the copyright and the trademark. And no, I am not getting any incentives back from the copyright or trademark company. I'm just in awe and gratitude that there are systems in place to protect people like me, creatives, pioneers, leaders in this creative experience of putting our expression out into the world. So, sending you all so much love and all so many blessings upon your spiritual awakening journey. Mwah. Mwah.